All right. Once you get the background done with the spot healing brush, we've done a lot of work up to this point. So you're going to want to save it. So go to File, Save As, and save to your computer. And this is where you're going to want to put your name and your photo restore and all that other stuff, where to save it, and then the type of format that you want to save it at. You can save it as a Photoshop file or a .tiff. Um, a .tiff is what I want everyone to turn things into me as when you're doing certain things or turning certain things into me. Um, for this one, when you're 100% completely done, eventually it will become a PDF. So save it as a TIFF or Photoshop. Um, they're both kind of the same thing. They save your layers, everything you've done. The only difference between a Photoshop file format and a .tiff is that the .tiff allows you to jump back and forth from platform to platform, whether it's PC to Mac or old versions to newer versions, stuff like that, without any problems. After you hit save, hit OK if it's a .tiff. Anytime you're making moves, you're going to want to save and save often. So when I start doing certain things, I focus on one area at a time and I finish it, complete it, then I'll save it again because it's nice to save and save often, because if I do something to like this spot right here and it turns out really bad, I could always close it out, and because I saved it, I can always reopen it without saving it before I messed up. I can always come back to my last save spot and do what you call a revert, and then continue off where you left off in the last save point. So always remember that. It's always good to do. So anytime I do something, I make a change, I will always save it if I like it. If not, I usually close it out and go back to the last save point. So what I'm going to show you now, after the spot healing brush is done and we clean the background up pretty nicely, right below that tool there's a clone tool or a clone stamp tool. This is where the bracket keys are going to come into play. Because when you use the clone tool, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be copying pixels throughout the image and replacing those pixels you copied with damaged area. And when you're working with this tool, you do one area at a time. Just focus on one thing at a time. Eventually you'll get it all cleaned up, but just stay focused on one thing. And the first area that we're going to focus on is on the bottom right corner, where this arrowhead looking damaged area is. It looks like a little arrowhead. And this is where you have to be very careful, and this is why the brush size is very important, because you'll notice that arrowhead right there is going into 3 separate multiple shadow and highlight areas. You're going to notice the tip of that arrowhead is right in the dark shadow of the gentleman's fold of his jacket. And then like the middle of the arrowhead has like the brighter part of the fold of the gentleman's jacket. And then you got the bottom part of the arrowhead and a darker fold of the gentleman's jacket. So to start things off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do more of the middle of the arrowhead. And I'm going to size my brush up the same size of that fold right there. And what you do is you hold Option to, it'll be Alt on a PC, but Option to bring the crosshair up like you see on the screen right there, and click once and then let go of Option. And by Option clicking, you're copying the pixels, and you can kind of see the pixels inside your brush there. And what you're going to do is, once you copy the pixels, you're going to brush it in where the damaged area is and stop. And what happened is, because realistically people assume that when you Option click you're just copying those pixels there. Realistically, you are actually copying the whole entire image. And if you keep brushing in, because I Option clicked right here and I started brushing in, realistically that white spot that appeared right there is actually that arrowhead right there, because you're copying the whole image. So what you have to do is constantly go back, Option click, brush in, And you don't want to go too far because you're going to start brushing in the whole entire image. And you're going to be brushing in that arrowhead as well, the damaged area, because it's actually copying that as well. So it's literally option click and brush, option click and brush until you get the whole area that you need completed, and then stop. And if you got that, you're going to move your cursor down. We'll do the bottom part of the arrowhead. I'm going to size my brush up the same size of the darker shadow of the fold right there, and then hold option, click once, brush it in. Hold option, go back, click once, copy it, and fix all these little teeny tiny areas. Go back, hold option, click again, recopy, brush in there. You'll notice I got some damaged area in there because I accidentally started brushing it in, so I'm going to go back up here, copy the color of the pixels here, and fix it right there. So option click, let go of option, brush it in. And then that's done. Then I'm going to shrink my brush down to about the same size of the darker fold right there to get the top part of that arrowhead right there. So I'm going to go over here. You want to copy the same pixels. You want to stay in the same area. You don't want to copy pixels over here because it could be different colors over here. So I don't want to copy that dark shadow because that shadow is lighter. I got to stay within the area. So I'll hover my mouse about right there, hold option, click once, come over here and brush to get rid of that. There's still part of that arrowhead in a brighter part of the fold of the gentleman's jacket, so I'm going to hold option, click once, and brush that in. And just that little spot right there took a lot of time, but when you get the hang of it and you're being careful, you're constantly option clicking. Option click, let go of option, brush it in. You might have to go back, re-option click, brush it in until it's completely done. But that took quite some time and a little bit of work. And that's what you have to do, and that's what you got to be careful of. In areas like this right here, you'll notice that damaged white area right there is just in one area of the gentleman's jacket, meaning that it's in one specific color area. It's not going into multiple areas like this dark shadow, or it's just in that lighter area. So if I know that that area color is the same as this, I'll option click right here and brush it in, and it's done. Maybe go back, option click one more time, and finish it off. Same thing with this. Come over here, option click, brush it in, done. Scrolling down, there's a lot of different spots here that have a lot of clone stamp tooling that need to be done, and you got to be careful of areas like this here. That area right here is going into multiple shadows and highlighted areas, so you got to split it in half. This part of the ripped area is going into that dark shadow, so you got to size it down to the same size, option click, and then brush it in. Go back because it started brushing in again, so that's not what you want. Go back, option click up here, brush that in. And you'll see it's a lot lighter down here, so you got to get, you got to fix all this light area as well. But we'll come back to that later when you get more practice with these areas here. When you get more practice with these smaller areas, you should be able to fix these lighter areas down here. But just be careful on what you're doing. Finish this one off. You'll see it's in lighter areas. I'll option click up here, brush it in, stop. Re-option click, brush it in, stop. Option click, brush it in, stop. Little areas here, got to get those. Option click, brush in, stop. Option click, brush in, stop. You're constantly option clicking. There's a little piece here. Same area, color here. I'll just steal it from here. Option click, brush it in, stop. But you'll notice like this area might have multiple different shadows and highlights. You got to be very careful. It's going to take some time. This part here will get lighter area. This part here will probably get a little bit darker area. And then this spot up here will get this kind of color up here to be replaced with. It's like 3 different areas you're copying from. And you're literally going to go and do the whole entire image where there's high detailed area like the gentleman's jacket and everything with the clone stamp, not the spot healing, because it could damage it with the spot healing. And the only way to fix this is utilizing the clone stamp tool. And it's definitely the tool out of all tools that you want to master, because you'll be able to go far with it and be able to restore a lot of stuff. So with that said, you're going to go throughout the whole entire image with a clone stamp and find some damaged areas on the gentleman itself where there's high detail, and you got to be careful of areas like this. That little white spot that's damaged is going into the gentleman's hair as well as the background, so you've got to split it up. Size your brush down really small. Hold Option with the clone stamp, copy some of the hair and just brush it in down there. A little bit more, copy there, brush it in, Option click, brush in, constantly Option clicking. And then you got the background. I'm going to Option click in the background and brush in the background. Stop, Option click again back here, rebrush in. Stop, Option click, brush it in. Stop, Option click, brush it in. Then you'll notice the scratches on the gentleman's face right here. You got to be very careful because that goes into multiple shadowed areas. It looks easy, but it's really not. So I'm going to Option click up here and brush it in that little spot right there, the scratch. And I'm going to go up here, Option click, and brush it in down there. I'm trying to steal the same color that scratch is going into. I can't copy up here and brush it in here because you're going to get a very bad ending on that scratch right there. So you're going to go throughout the whole entire image. Be very careful with the button right here. It's going into multiple detailed areas, so you got to size it down to the size of the brush that you need, and then be very careful on restoring that. But what we did over here with all this other stuff, you're doing the same exact thing throughout the whole entire image. Oops, see, I brushed in that little tiny hole of the button there, so I don't want that. There we go. Size my brush down a little more. Little scratch there, clean that up. Little dot there, clean that up. Option click, brush that in. Option click, brush that in. Stop, go back, re-option click, brush it in. Stop, option click, brush it in. See, this is what happens if you don't stop brushing and you don't keep option clicking. So I'll copy the pixels like right here. And as I keep brushing in, boom, I'm repainting in that scratch right there. I don't want that. So I'll undo it by Command Z, and that's why you have to option click, brush in, option click, brush in. But because this is a very faded area right here, I might have to steal from the gentleman's jacket up here to fix that faded color up there. It'll kind of be the same color. So instead of option clicking down here and fixing that fade, I'm going to option click up here with a bigger brush and then brush in dark areas for the gentleman's jacket just like that. Maybe go in a little more. And that's how you'll fix that faded area. But that's what you're going to do with the clone stamp tool. You're going to go throughout the whole entire image and find high detailed areas like this to restore with the clone stamp. And just by what I've shown you, you should be able to complete the whole entire damaged areas with the clone stamp. So just keep in mind when you're doing areas like this here, don't copy from over here, maybe copy from over here or something like that. You want to keep the same